I wanted to talk a little bit this morning about technology and the way it's changed our lives and the way it's going to affect our industry. Um, we, we really live in an amazing time. We've seen more change in the last 20 years than any generation before us. I'll start out with cell phones. I mean, cell phones have replaced a lot of the equipment that we used in our everyday life, cameras, GPSs. Remember those old weather radios? Replaced gaming systems for some kids, your personal planner. A lot of times, you know, people back in the 90s used to have like a place where you kept all your phone numbers, a little handheld computer where you kept your phone numbers and addresses for letters that you would send to people, which we don't do that anymore either. So in the future, I could really see cell phones being used as the computing power for everything in your life. You have a cell phone. It's the computing power for your car. You bring it into your house. It plugs into a dock, and that's your computer. You don't have to carry around a laptop anymore. No more desktop computers. You know, everything is going to be driven from a phone. Also, you know, replacement of entertainment systems, TVs. I mean, everything has changed, you know, in this age from having bulky VHS tapes or DVDs and DVD players to where now we stream everything. We choose what we want to watch and when we want to watch it. Everything is beginning to be more powered centrally. Video game systems, where you used to have a big, powerful computer with expensive components. Now they're going to be hosting that power in the cloud, and you're just going to have like a Chromebook or some, you know, a less expensive piece of equipment to be able to participate in gaming. That's really going to open everything up to everybody else. You know, make it accessible to the masses. So the cell phone has changed the way we communicate. You know, in the past, people had to call a landline. Sometimes they got you, sometimes they didn't. They'd leave a message, and you got back to them when they got the message. Now, you know, everybody feels like they have instant access to you. Like, if you don't answer a text message, there's something wrong with them. Like, it's like you have no chance to think about, you know, the way you're going to respond. If you don't pick up the phone when somebody calls you, or you don't call back within the next 10 minutes, you must be ignoring them, and you don't like them. So it's really changed the way that we communicate to each other, and the expectation for instant access to everybody. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is the internet. The internet has changed everything. It's changed the way that business is done. The biggest taxi cab company in the world doesn't own a car. The biggest accommodation provider in the world doesn't own a building. I mean, that theme is becoming more and more prevalent. It's also given a rise to a new type of entertainment. You know, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Musical.ly. Kids don't really watch live TV anymore. They don't see the commercials in the traditional sense. They are, you know, everybody has the opportunity to produce content and to participate in this new world of entertainment. I mean, everybody's connected, and it's really tough to keep up with that. You know, to understand as a generation that grew up with two channels, you know, CBS and NBC, and sometimes if you adjusted the antenna right, you know, you could get ABC. To understand the amount of content that's out there and the choices that they have, and when they have those choices, it's really hard to understand the choices that they make. To watch a kid play video games and scream into a microphone, you know, on a little webcam in his bedroom instead of watching, you know, cartoons or, you know, a good TV show. So, I mean, my daughter, when I call her, or it's weird. She'll send me a text, and I just don't want to type out the answer in a text message, and I call her up and she's talking to me on the phone, and then her friends are like, who's calling you? And and she's like, yeah, it's my dad. He calls me, It's like it's a weird it's like something that they don't do anymore. They are texting or they're sending pictures. That's how they communicate. So it's really a new world, and we have to embrace that change, understand that things are different, that we need to view things differently, that we need to not just do the things the way we always did them, but embrace new innovative ways, be open, listen to people. There are different points of view and different ways to do things. And, like I heard somebody else in their speech say, mix the old with the new. I think it was Jason. We need to give them, our opinion without breaking the spirit of what their idea is. Let them run with it, but just trying to reinforce it with the practical knowledge and wisdom that you've gained over your years. So, how it affects our industry, in the utility industry, there's a rapid increase in the development of and deployment of new tech. So, at the same time, the utility companies are reducing their internal staff and outsourcing, more of the design and planning and implementation of this new tech. And as a contractor, a lot of times we look at that as, they're just shifting the risk to us and they're doing it to us, instead of embracing that change and understanding that they're giving us an opportunity to build the world the way that we want to see it within the guidelines of what they want us to deliver. So at Green Mountain Power, there was they have an open floor plan. They have an intern there, and they have a lunch area. And the CEO of Green Mountain Power was down there getting something to eat, and she heard the intern talking to somebody about, those batteries that Tesla installs in the car? Why couldn't we install those in the house? So the CEO went over and talked to the intern and said, what, after lunch, we're going to go give Tesla a call. So they gave Tesla a call, found out they actually can use the batteries in the house, and now Green Mountain Power rents those batteries to customers, $45 a month. They get paid for charging them up. When the power's out, they get paid for the energy that discharges into the home, and then when the power comes back on, they get paid to charge the battery again. So that's the future of storm restoration, and the new environmental climate that we have is, that's a way to pick the wires up off the ground whenever you can. They still have power. And I don't know if anybody watched the news last week about GM laying off a bunch of people, and they're going to stop building cars, and they're going to start concentrating on building electric vehicles and autonomous driving. So when you think about that, it kind of matches up with what the utility is doing right now. They are doing a lot of battery storage. Instead of upgrading their system to meet the peak load, they don't need that, that level of infrastructure all the time. They just need it during peak load time. Well, if you think about the shift to electric cars, and this is just my personal thought and where I think it's going, how many batteries are going to be out there? How many cars are on the road? And with a little bit of infrastructure, how many cars are parked at any given time? And how could there be a relationship between the utility and the auto owner, to where they can use the capacity of your battery to smooth out loads in certain areas, and you benefit by getting to charge your car for a cheaper price. I think there's a really big future in the infrastructure of electric cars, and the way that they're going to interact with the way that we power our homes, the way that we smooth out the load, peak load times. Boy, I can't. I should have brought some water up. But, you know, with all this change happening in the industry, there will be increased need for innovation and collaboration, you know, between, you know, the contractors and the customer. They're looking more and more for us to augment their staff to get into the projects. Thank you very much. To get involved with projects at a time when, you know, we can add the most benefit, you know, during the, you know, the idea phase, where you get involved before design so that they're actually designing something that's gonna be feasible. We act in a collaborative manner. So, you know, that can only be accomplished through, you know, adding leadership to our organizations to encourage all the people inside the organization to look at, you know, the challenges that are put to us by our customers as opportunities, and not something that is just, you know, adding more work or problems to what we want to do. So, thank you very much.